Welcome back, my duelist friends. It's Thursday. Thursday means, well, sometimes today it means we're going to be doing an advanced deck profile. What deck is that? We're going to be playing Dark Gaia semi-OTK. And I think that this one is kind of clever because not only are we not relying on a whole lot of the money cards, a couple of the cards we just got in our box opening last week are actually going to be appearing here. And honestly, if I a couple more than one, I'd be playing some more than one. I'll explain that mod too as we go through the deck. But today I just want you guys to enjoy this. So this is going to be 40 card main deck, 15 card extra, no side, as per the usual. And there are some card changes you guys can make to keep this more on a budgeted side. So based on what we had, here's what we're going to use. We're going to start it off with two copies of the Evil Hero Adjusted Gold. Now, a lot like Captain Gold, we're going to pitch to search. However, it's not going to be for Skyscraper or anything. What we're going to be doing is discard this card to add one Dark Fusion or a card that mentions it within its text from the deck to the hand, except same name. So I can't pitch Adjusted Gold to get Adjusted Gold, in case you guys were trying to play some form of Exodia strategy that for some reason utilized that. Can't do it. You can only use this effect once per turn and cannot attack unless you already control a fusion monster. But that's fine. He's actually part of the recipe to help us make our versions of Dark Gaia, as he is a fiend. So take that and his 2100 points of power into account. And obviously, if we could increase him by having an extra one, we might. We very well might. Next card we're going to play is 3 copies of Evil Hero Infernal Gainer. For a couple of reasons. One, he's a 4-star, because you guys probably know what I'm going to be playing as a backup plan. But additionally, he actually has a pretty good effect once you have a Dark Gaia on the field. Now, these are older versions, Duelist Pack 6, Gladiator Assault, stuff like that. During the main phase, you can remove this from play and select one face of fiend monster that you control. That monster gets to attack twice every battle phase. This comes back and special summons in face of attack during your second standby phase after activation of the effect. So he'll send himself off into the future in order to give our Dark Gaia, or whatever our fusion monster is, preferably a fusion monster or a large fiend, multiple attacks per turn. So again, he's very cool. He is actually one of the cards you could totally swap out. So later on, I'll show you what you could swap 2 of these for. One of these could immediately become the Adjusted Gold, but I'm trying to play this with a budget and not going out and ordering more cards for this. So unfortunately, 3 of them, which is fine because he's actually pretty common right now. We're going to be playing 2 copies, Malicious Edge. Again, you're going to be seeing that this is a higher level fiend. We do have the 2600 points of attack. Again, that matters when you're creating Dark Gaia. If your opponent controls a monster, you can normal summon this with 1 tribute. During battle between this and a defense monster, inflict piercing. So again, he's not that big of a standout. He's really just fusion fodder. And you guys could trade him if you wanted to. The one thing we're lacking so far is we're lacking stones. Part of the whole Dark Gaia theory is you do need fiends, which of course we've already got 3 different names. And you have to add a rock. So I figured the rocks ought to be control. So let's go with 3 copies of the Kokimeru Guardian. Now, Guardian, like all Kokimeru, during the each end phase, destroy the card unless you send 1 iron core of Kokimeru from hand to grave, or reveal 1 same type, in this case rock, monster card from your hand. When a monster effect is activated, quick effect, tribute this card, negate the activation, and destroy that monster. Now, notice it doesn't say on the field. So potentially, Kokimeru Guardian can actually help us play through hand traps, which is exceptionally good if we need to do something with like a search. We don't want to get ashed. Maybe you want to save your called by the grave for another card, what have you. Good card, great card. And I probably would invert him with the next one, but I only own 2 copies of the next one. So again, it's 3-2 for me, but it could be a 2-3 for you. It's Kokimeru Wall. Now, the wall, just like the other one, requires me to either pitch an iron core or reveal a rock. However, this one, when your opponent activates a spell card, quick effect, tribute this, negate, and destroy. So again, monster effects, spells. We left, I forget which one the one is that deals with the traps. We left the trap one out. Same thing with the one for special summons. Adding one of my favorite rocks because, again, we're not really taking away from the deck by adding this. Instead, what we're doing is actually raising our own power caps. Playing 3 copies, Nibiru the Primal Being. Now, Nib was re-released as a mac and cheese gold rare, so not as expensive as the gold tin 2019s, whatever they were, where it was just a secret rare variant that kind of got tossed into the mix. Still a good card. During the main phase, if the opponent normal or special summons 5 or more monsters this turn, as a quick effect, you can tribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible. If you do special summon from hand, special summon a primal token, question mark by question mark to the opponent's side of the field. Attack and defense becomes the original combined attack and defense of the tributed monsters. Now again, I believe all the attacks are added in one column, all the defenses in another. It is what it is. There's a great way around this. We'll show it to you next, as we need a higher power cap for our fiends. So for our fiends, I really wanted to mess with Radion, the multi-dimensional kaiju. Now, like all kaiju, we're able to tribute a single monster from our opponent's side of the field in order to summon this in attack mode on their side. And then, of course, you got all the rest of this. If your opponent controls the kaiju, you can special summon this in attack mode. You can only control one kaiju monster. Once per turn, remove kaiju counters, whatever. Cannot be used as synchro material. That's fine. Don't care. Didn't read too long. All we want is we want the ability that if we did play Nibiru, we want to be able to get the token off the field, because the token could be potentially way too big. And then also Radion helps us out other big, powerful monster cards by not really activating an effect per se. More or less tribute sacking their monster out of the way. And it's also going to be useful with another card a little bit later on. I promise I'll show it to you. You guys are going to love it. But real quick, the last monster we're going to be playing is 3 copies of the Summoner Monk. Now, the Summoner Monk, if you guys haven't figured it out, I'm going to be playing Utopia as my backup. Utopia is okay as a backup. Duelist is okay as a backup, especially when you're dealing with the potential power levels of our Dark Gaia. But the Summoner Monk could help us get there because maybe we have too many spells in our hand, as can happen with this deck. So, 3 Summoner Monks. When this is this card can never be tributed. When it is normal or flip summoned, change it immediately to defense position, and then once per turn, discard a spell card. Special summon a level 4 monster from the deck. It cannot attack this turn, but it can allow us to go into fusion materials. It can help us set up one of our Kokomiru should we want to hold on to like Guardian's effect or something like that. It could help us board the Infernal Gainer. We could go monk for monk if we wanted to, because this is a soft once per turn. Each one of them can do it once per turn. Whatever you want, we can go into Utopia this way. It is fantastic. It is budget friendly. And so far, like the most expensive 2 cards on the table are going to be Nibiru and Adjusted Gold. Everything else has been a common. These were reprinted in like an all foils booster. These guys come common in structure decks. Believe it or not, I think it was both Malicious and Gainer were all commons in the boxes we just opened. So again, this is kind of budget now. Give us a second, take your screenshot or possibly pause it and take some notes if you haven't already. And I'll clear the board and get back at you with the next portion of the deck. All right, now that we've done that, let's get the spells, shall we? First up, single copy Called by the Grave. It's pretty self-explanatory. Target a monster in the opponent's graveyard, banish it. If due until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects of the field monsters with the same original name. So what this is going to do for us, essentially it's going to stop maybe like the 1 copy of Ash Blossom. Unless Nibiru's already in our discard pile, which I guess maybe we could stop Nibiru. I don't exactly know how that one would play out. I'm not going to get into it here. Let's get into some other cards. Let's talk about Dark Calling. Before we do that, let's talk about Dark Fusion. Now, we are going to play both of these at playset, and the reason I want to talk about them in reverse order is because to me it makes more sense, especially when you guys want to understand the endgame strategy of what I call the Double Dark Gaia. And it's not that I call it that. I think everybody called it that. It is what it is, right? So let's grab this. Send from your hand or side of the field fusion materials listed on a fiend type fusion monster. Special summon the fusion monster. It's polymerization for fiends. It's just evil hero fusions require it, which is why we're going to play it. And then, of course, special summon that card from your fusion deck, treat it as a fusion summon. The special summon monster cannot be targeted by the effects of other monsters, spells, and traps this turn. Very important wording. Very important. So, it's going to make the initial Dark Gaia almost bulletproof for the turn, which is one of the things that's really going to help us go for a striking game, but doesn't always happen. This is definitely still like a glass cannon type deck. It either goes off or it doesn't. And then the Dark Calling, rather than read this whole thing, think Miracle Fusion for evil heroes. So you're still going to banish from hand. This one allows us to banish from hand engrave rather than field engrave. But the same thing. Fusion monsters listed on a fusion monster that can be special summoned with Dark Fusion and play that one from the extra deck as a fusion summon that was used with Dark Fusion. So for all intents and purposes, it's the Miracle Fusion of Dark Fusion, which allows us to put it together. However, no protection the same way that we got the protection from Dark Fusion. So do bear that in mind. But it will allow us to pop out 2 copies, identical strength Dark Gaia. And again, as you guys saw, some of our weaker cards that could be used were like Infernal Gainer was 16. If we take 16 with our weakest rocks, which are both 19s, 16, 19, 35. I realize I put a question mark on that. Probably shouldn't have. It is 35. Have a little confidence, right? And then, again, still, 2 3,500 point monsters is 7,000 attack power. Still not terrible, guys. So let's get some of the rest of the spells. Of course, you've got to have the 1 double or nothing if you're going to play the Utopia strategy. Again, when a monster's attack is negated, target it. It can attack again once more during the battle phase, and if it does, attack doubles during damage steps. So again, that Dark Gaia that was at 35 is now at 7,000 itself, which means the follow-up Dark Gaia is also 35. So now we're talking about 10-5, and that's before you talk about whether or not Evil Hero Infernal Gainer was out there and gave it an extra attack. All sorts of goofy stuff, right? The one card that you could replace a couple of those gainers with is Evil Mind. Now again, I only pulled 1, so it is what it is. But let's go over this multi-staged card and talk about how good this is. So if you control a fiend monster, activate one of the following based on the number of monsters in the opponent's discard. If they have at least 1, you could choose to draw a card. If they have at least 4, you could choose to add a hero or Dark Fusion from deck to hand, which again, fantastic. We don't have to rely on adjusted gold then. It would be like having 3 copies of him that are common for the mid game, or again, just using it for the draw 1. Or 10 or more cards, add polymerization spell or fusion spell from deck to hand. And again, that one's not as necessary. I'm in love with the first 2 effects. You can only activate 1 of these per turn. Again, 2 gainers could go out for 2 more of these, and I would not be upset. Quick cards. We do run the 1 Feather Duster, blow up the opponent back row. 1 Monster Reborn, resurrect one of our own. 3 Geckis, because again, we can go ahead and destroy all of our opponent's monsters in a fell swoop. And let's talk about Super Poly for a quick second. We have a couple of dark in our own main. Mostly, it's just going to be those the Radions and the Summoner Monks. But at the same time, you're talking about being able to summon a monk after doing a Radion. So we can go ahead, we can actually develop into Easy my extra deck. Let me just look, because for some reason I'm spacing. Starving Venom Fusion. Or sometimes your opponent's actually already going to have have enough dark monsters for you to just go ahead and do this. Either way, if this would be dead, feel free to use it for the Summoner Monk and go the Utopia route. Still, no worries. And last three, guys, Infinite Impermanence. And I'd like to talk about one thing I did not know you could do with this card until I was watching one of the duels on Master Duel in order to get my daily 5 gems for viewing. You can activate this when you go second as a card, like just activating it like a spell card. I didn't know that, didn't realize it, I guess. Because again, you at that point, you control no cards. And you could just immediately just go like, yeah, it's my turn. I don't want to deal with that, Borreload Savage Dragons effect. So we're just going to go ahead and stop that for the turn. Yeah. So that's totally a thing, guys. Did not know that. And if it wouldn't be in bad taste, I would just choose this for this week's tech analysis. But I got something else for this week's TA, so don't worry about it. But let's talk about the effect just real quick. Targeted face-up monster your opponent controls negate its effects until the end of the turn. Then if it was set before activation and is on the field during resolution, for the remainder of the turn, any other spell trap in the same column is also negated. If you control no cards, you may activate this from your hand. And again, just didn't think that you could do it as a spell. Don't know why I didn't think that, but you can. Absolutely can. Watched it happen multiple times. Good stuff. So that's going to round it out. And again, if you feel the need to add other hand traps, I mean, you guys play with what you guys think is fair. I noticed I didn't play Ash Blossom this time around. I was thinking about siding in things like Ash, Drawlin Lockbird, but a lot of that stuff would have to go to the side deck. A lot of it just doesn't fit in the main because, again, I built a glass cannon, guys. It's either going to work for you or it's not. Give me a second, take the screenshot, make the notes. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys the extra deck. Be right back. All right. So we got the extra. What do we need? First up, you're going to need 3 copies, Evil Hero Dark Gaia. Again, it was originally a regular rare in Gladiator's Assault way back when, which is totally fine. Then it was a common in, DP6, and I believe it was also common in the recent box. So again, there's no reason why you guys can't be playing this. In fact, let me know now, down in the comment section, do you guys want a common charity variant for Dark Gaia? Because I got the cards. I can make it happen. You guys let me know. The effect, however, is you need a Fiend and a Rock to make it. Can only be special summoned with Dark Fusion. The original attack of this becomes a combined attack of the materials it's made from. And when it declares an attack, change all defense monsters the opponent controls to face-up attack. Also, flip effects will not be activated at this time. So, back in that era when we were dealing with flip-flop, on occasion still, and other good flip effect monsters, still Gravekeepers did things. You still saw the Spy, you still saw the Guard, a little bit, not a lot. Even moving into later on decks. Flip effects were still semi-relevant, so this was a little more relevant then. Right now, we're just looking to have a big bruiser. Also, play 1 copy of the Evil Hero Malicious Fiend. And this one's kind of cool. This is going to be the Malicious Edge that was in our deck, plus another level 6 or higher Fiend. And again, since we played 2 copies of the Malicious Edge, as well as 3 of Radion, this was just kind of a fun little toss-in. This cannot be special summoned, except without Dark Fusion, or with Dark Fusion. Without Dark Fusion. That was weird. During the opponent's battle phase, all their monsters that they control are changed to attack position, and they must attack with all their monsters against this card. So again, in the side deck, I do have things like Lost Wind and stuff normally. So again, this helps us just win the one matchup where it might actually beat us. But again, this card is going to be set at 3,500 points. So again, pretty strong card, kind of goofy effect. You are going to play the 1 Starving Venom Fusion. I think by now you guys all know this, and I don't want this video to go too much longer. We're almost at 20 minutes, which is more than enough. Thank you guys for sticking it out. But just 1, because again, I do want to play the Utopia, the Double, the Dugaris, and the S39 Utopia, the Lightning. Because again, depending on whether or not you already drew into your Double or Nothing, you might just go Utopia to Lightning. Again, doesn't really matter. The big pitch here is you want to go to double, pitch material, grab double or nothing, slide into Utopia. Utopia is now doubled, can't attack directly. It's a 5,000, can block its own attack, play the double or nothing, go up to the 10k during the damage step. And if you attack a monster that's 2k or less, it's an immediate over 8,000, which is again the side OTK. And then Dugaris's middle effect. Yes. No, wait. Nope, last one. Skip your next battle phase. Double the attack of one monster you control until the end of the turn. And again, if you have the double attacking Evil Hero Dark Gaia, because you also had the Evil Hero Infernal Gainer, this is semi-more relevant, but again, it's still not really that great. It's just fun. And then, of course, like the Utopia of the Lightning is all about if you just failed, you got the double or nothing, you on the draw, just had terrible luck. You would go 39 to S39. And then when you attack, you could pitch materials. If at least one of materials underneath it is a Utopia, it'll double up. And then it also gains this effect that's very much like an Ancient Gear. And it makes it so that the opponent can't really respond to that attack until the end of the damage step. So again, it's pretty cool. And then the links are pretty generic as well. Not that I really had too many times where I could have played it, but Appaloosa, Moral Sword, more likely was IP Masquerade, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, and my Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And again, these three didn't matter so much. So if you guys want to add in additional Super Poly targets to just kind of justify the double Super Poly, and again, potentially a third in your side, these could easily be, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, another Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, insert card that you like here. And again, since we really didn't do anything with like hand traps, there really wasn't any use for like tuners. So Haka Firebrax didn't really need to happen either. So guys, this is the deck. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. I will run some test hands tomorrow. So if you do want to see that, come on back. If you guys want to see a common charity Dark Gaia, let me know. And if you guys want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, or simply do none of it and have a wonderful day, my friends. All right? I do hope to see you guys again tomorrow. Have a great one.